A remake is a film or television series based on one produced earlier. The term remake can refer to everything on the spectrum of reused material, both an allusion or a line-by-line change retake of a film. However, the term generally pertains to a new version of an old film. A reproduced television series could also be called a remake. Film. The term remake is generally used in reference to a movie which uses an earlier movie as the main source material, rather than in reference to a second, later movie based on the same source. For example, 2001's Ocean's 11 is a remake of the Ocean's 11, while 1989's Batman is a reinterpretation of the comic book source material which also inspired 1966's Batman. In 1998, Gus Van Sant produced a shot-for-shot remake of Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 film Psycho. With the exception of shot-for-shot remakes, most remakes make significant character, plot, genre and theme changes. For example, the 1968 film The Thomas Crown Affair is centered on a bank robbery, while its 1999 remake involves the theft of a valuable piece of artwork. The 1999 remake of The Mummy was viewed primarily as a reimagining in a different genre, adventure. Similarly, when the 1969 film The Italian Job was remade in 2003, few aspects were carried over. Another example is the 1932 film Scarface, which was remade in 1983 starring Al Pacino. Whereas the setting of 1932 version is the illegal alcohol trade, the characters in the 1983 version are involved in cocaine smuggling. Sometimes a remake is made by the same director. For example, Yasujiro Ozu's black and white A Story of Floating Weeds was remade into the color Floating Weeds. Alfred Hitchcock remade his 1934 black and white The Man Who Knew Too Much in color in 1956. Tick-Tock Tuckered, released in 1944, was a color remake of Porky's Bad Time Story, released in 1937 with Daffy Duck in Gabby Goat's role. Cecil B. DeMille managed the same thing with his 1956 remake of his silent 1923 film The Ten Commandments. In 2008, Michael Haneke made Funny Games US, his English-language remake of his original Funny Games, while Martin Campbell, director of the miniseries Edge of Darkness, directed the 2010 film adaptation. Not all remakes use the same title as the previously released version. The 1966 film Walk, Don't Run, for example, is a remake of the World War II comedy The More the Merrier. This is particularly true for films that are remade from films produced in another language, such as Point of No Return, Vanilla Sky, The Magnificent Seven, A Fistful of Dollars, The Departed, and Let Me In. Television. Remakes occur less often on television than in film, but have happened from time to time. Examples include Battlestar Galactica, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Knight Rider, La Femme Nikita, Melrose Place, Beverly Hills 90210, B, Hawaii Five-0, and Charlie's Angels. One area where television remakes are particularly common is transatlantic ports, where US shows are remade for the UK or more frequently, UK shows are remade for a US market. A notable example is Three's Company, a US remake of The British Man About the House. Not only was the original show recreated, but both series had spin-offs based on the Ropers, and both series were eventually retooled into series based on the male lead. While not, strictly speaking, remakes, television adaptations of theatrical films have occurred. There also have been TV series that are direct spin-offs of successful films: Highlander, the series, The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Stargate SG-1, Terminator, The Sarah Connor Chronicles. Other remade pilots include Dallas, Wonder Woman, and Annie. See also, Reboot, Shot for Shot, List of film remakes, List of British television series based on American television series, List of English-language films with previous foreign-language film versions, cover versions of a song, video game remake, remaster, sequel. References